I'm still waiting for I guess Drake dropped with 21. That was smooth. But I'm ready for just a Drake project.
Just a Drake only project.
Just a Drake only.
You think something's coming this fall?
It is coming in like probably the next 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Has to be.
You think it's gonna be? You think it's gonna be like one of them ones? Or you think it's gonna be kind of like what he's been doing, just releasing music?
I mean, it's gonna be a good album. I just think that he's hitting a lick right now.
What you mean? What you mean by hitting a lick? I agree. I agree.
Drake is hitting a lick. Drake is about to hit another lick because he just what did he sign, like a half a $1 billion deal for like probably 3, 4, 5, 6 albums,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. My thing is that like, you know how Drake is a machine like at this point. So it's like you don't think that the way that he been dropping music is not like he's hitting a lick right now just to finish the deal, just to say I got paid $600 million for like what 6 albums in 2 years, something like that. Like
that's the reason he's been dropping so much. He's dropped three projects in the last like year and a half.
Yeah, he dropped Certified Lover. He dropped Certified Lover Boy. Honestly, Nevermind, and then Her Loss in a 2-year span.
Yeah,
and then now he about to drop it. That's 4, and he probably got 2 more in the tuck.
He's at the point where it's like, when you're a business owner and you know your business on autopilot, you could just sleep because records or money's coming in.
Yeah,
that's the stage of his career that he's in.
He has the formula.
Yeah,
he has the formula. I think what he's doing isn't bad. I think
it's not bad, but we need one more classic project.
He never had one.
Huh? You say he's never, but we've had this conversation before. But you.
What do you mean?
Drake hasn't had a classic album. I keep saying this.
Nothing Was the Same. I think was a classic album.
No,
top to bottom.
No, it wasn't. Name 3 songs off there right now, top of your head. Quickly.
Nothing Was the Same.
Yeah, quickly.
I hate when he does
Okay.
this.
Quickly.
I am about to. Wu-Tang Forever. Too Much. Tuscan Leather. Come on now.
Name 2 more quickly.
What you mean? Are you too bad? What you mean? Like you said, bro. That project slaps, bro. That's like one of my favorite projects of all time.
I'm not saying it wasn't a good project.
And that joint stands the test of time.
That joint was trendy.
You think it stands the test of time?
Nothing Was the Same? Yes, bro. You can go back to that joint and listen to any record on there, bro, and that joint hits today. You
saying that wasn't a timeless project?
Nothing Was the Same was timeless, bro. That's a record that you can go back as a music lover, fan, or whatever, and go back and the music's still quality, bro. Yeah,
facts.
Yeah. Debate me, because I know you got something to say, something wild to say. Debate me.
I don't. I just don't think that it's. I don't think it's a great project. Like what I'm not. This is the problem because Drake is so good. When you don't say stuff is not classics, people just assume that you think it's bad. I don't think Drake music is bad. I mean, not you. I'm talking in general.
I know you're speaking in general, but I'm saying even from the standpoint of like what we're saying right now, I'm like, I don't think all of his music is like, I'm not going back to all his music, but he has a lot of music that's, you know what I'm saying, it does stand the test of time. And I think the music on that project specifically is in that category of his music that stands the test of time, bro.
I don't think so. I don't think any of his songs are I don't think any of his music, his cohesive projects are classics. He has a lot of classic songs. A lot of classic songs, but a classic project, nah.
What do you consider a classic project?
Great question.
Good Kid, Mad City's a classic project.
No. Don't give me an example. I said, what do you consider is a classic project? Don't just say Good Kid, Mad City. I'm saying like, give me what components of what without giving me a project, give me like components of what you think a classic project is.
I think for a classic project, it has to be a moment. There has to be, I don't want to say controversy, but there has to be a story around the project that makes that project special, not just to the artist, but to everybody, right? And I think that with that, you also have to go into the music. Individually, the music has to be good enough where it flows all together, but individually it can still stand out specifically, right? Like, the argument that I use with people is like 2014 Forest Hills Drive is a great project cohesively, right? But I don't think, this is just my opinion, I don't think that if you were to put some of those singles by itself against some of Kendrick's songs or something like that, against like a Good Kid, Mad City, or put it against like a why can I think To Pimp a Butterfly, I don't think that project stands.
I can with that analogy in terms of like 2014 to like, I get what you're saying with that.
Yeah, but I think that going back to the classic project thing, I think there has to be a moment and there has to be a story behind the album, right? And what that album represented at the time, not just for artists, but for everybody. And that's where I think part of Drake's like issue is, right? Mm-hmm. Drake's issue isn't the fact of like he doesn't make great music. Music is great. Music's always going to be great. But the issue for me is sometimes it's also about the story for everybody, not just about him. Because a lot of times it's about him, not for everybody.
That's why I say, to your point, bro, that's why I'm saying Nothing Was the Same was exactly that. Everything you explained embodies what Nothing Was the Same was. And if you look on just like the whole project from the name, and how and what it means, and from nothing was the same from him, from the music industry, the whole music industry shifted in terms of like what music sounded like, the whole scene of what was popping. Toronto was on at that became on at the time in a hub for music. His storyline from the music that's ended like started from the bottom was a hit record at the time, talking about they came up through the music industry, the way they did it, the way they operated, it was just different at the time. It just changed the course of what the music industry was at the time, and I think that's why I think that project is considered a classic. And like I can name other projects that are similar to that. Like when it comes to like Victory Lap, like when it comes to Nipsey Hussle, it's considered a classic project in the hip hop realm because of what he did, what it meant, what he stood for, and things of that nature. And I think that all ties into what you said and like is an example of what you just described as a project.
So my thing is when you look at Good Kid, Mad City, the story around Good Kid, Mad City, right? And I'm just using this as an example because that it's they all in our generation of the blotter. So when you look at Good Kid, Mad City, right? Like the story about Good Kid, Mad City, and the story at hip hop at the time was hip hop was in a bad space. Yeah. It was in a very bad space. Niggas was trying to figure it out. Obviously, you kind of just came off of whatchamacallit, To Watch the Throne. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you didn't really see hip hop getting to a space where it was. Now, it kind of feels like how it is now, where people are like, "Yo, what's going on with hip hop? Take the numbers out." You know what I mean? But now you have this kid. You have this kid from the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? Who could spit just as fast as Twista. Who still has the storytelling like Nas, and kind of has the feel of the hood like Tupac did, right? And it's like, yo, who is this cat?
I agree.
Who has a mixture of all that. So now you come together, he drops a project, and not only that, he gets the whole West Coast rapping legends to now come and say, you have the keys to the West Coast.
You're right.
Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, when you look at the story of how Good Kid, Mad City came about from start to finish, it's like, not only was it just a classic moment, you had the classic music that came with it because of how it represented. My thing with going back to Drake now, right? There's no story where Drake, in my opinion, right? There's no story with Drake where you're going to sit down and look at, okay, this is where hip-hop was. I'm not saying Drake hasn't changed things. This is where hip-hop was. This is the story about hip-hop, and this is what Drake's album did for hip-hop specifically.
You're totally wrong.
I don't think I'm wrong on that. But hey.
What were you about to say?
Nah, I just feel like you're just talking from like just keeping it hip-hop. You know what I mean? But speaking on like Kendrick and how like, you know, the OGs are giving the keys to like of the throne of the West Coast, whatever the case may be. But I feel like also Drake still has made projects to where it's like, how can I explain it? You still get that feel. Like, for example, Nothing Was the Same. If you really listen to the song, it's like the transition of like people not taking him serious as a rapper. Now he's a rapper. He's really doing it for real. So that's an iconic moment within itself. You know what I mean?
But do you notice how? But do you kind of notice how you're talking about it from how the industry views Drake more than what the industry is at the time and what this staple is going to do.
I think it was both though.
But like Miles said, he's putting Toronto on the map. Speaking on Toronto, what's going on, and making that the hub now. People, you know what I'm saying?
But is Toronto really the hub though?
It's not the hub, but it highlights
at that point,
a lot of.
But at that point in time, it was.
I get what you mean.
At that point in time, for that
then
span,
Party came around. Roy Woods came around.
They were popping at the time.
That's what I'm saying.
And then you talking about people giving the keys, like Wayne gave him the keys when Wayne went to jail.
Yeah, but
saying this is the guy now.
But I think that even with like when you go to that Wayne conversation, right? Like Wayne, like part of Wayne's thing was that Wayne was doing something we never seen before, and from how Wayne was doing it, it kind of felt very much natural, if what I'm saying makes sense, right? And sometimes with Drake, it's not to say Drake doesn't make great music, but sometimes it feels very like, yo, like, is this Drake or the Machine? You know what I'm saying? And sometimes like, because of how hip-hop has transitioned into specifically numbers, I think that's also part of the reason why, for me, sometimes I kind of look at Drake as like, okay, is it really Drake or is it really like just the Machine pushing him out to be that nigga?
But he makes good music.
I'm not saying he doesn't make good music, but what I'm saying is it's the same thing. It's the same thing with like people like, that's weird. All right, so it's like the same thing with young rappers like Yeet or like Snot or people like that, right? Where it's like they make great music, but is it the numbers that's pushing you? Or is it the demographic?
What do you mean by like is it the numbers that's pushing? Explain that.
What I mean by that is okay. No, not in a sense.
No.
Okay.
It's more so what I'm trying to say is that like when Drake makes a hit, when Drake makes certain things now, it's like, why are you getting the hit now? Like, are you getting is what you're doing a hit because it's specifically you're doing something that works and it's good, or is it really just a formula of what you're using that people like? And my thing is, a lot of times with Drake, it's not the fact that I don't think that Drake can't make good music. I think a lot of the time the stuff that he does is more formula based. That's why when the Lil Wayne conversation for me comes into play, it's like, yo, like Lil Wayne was great, but there was no formula for what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? But then now when you look,
there was a formula to what Wayne was doing.
What was the formula for Wayne to just rap like he's never rapped before? And
no, but Wayne, his formula when he started off was like the reason he really got like really was popular was because he took the other people's beats and went crazy on them and did like that's part of a formula, but they did it for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're taking popular beats and doing that, yeah, but what I'm saying is that he was doing something that people never did before, and that's my thing. And what made it special was that you took something that people have never done before, you turned it into this is a track for me versus I'm going to sit here and use this at 35 BPMs. I'm going to sit here and only use downbeats because people use downbeats and throw an Atlanta rapper for a feature because I know that Atlanta rappers probably are going to get me at least.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's a way that you look at like the science and the maths behind it versus Lil Wayne is just taking the swag surf beat and just rapping on it because he wants to rap.
So back to the original conversation about nothing was the same not being like, you still don't believe like it doesn't fit that category at all.
I don't think a lot of Drake makes good music, but I don't think a lot of his music ages well today.
All right, I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna go through the set list real quick, and then we'll move on. But Tuscan Leather, furthest thing, started from the bottom. Wu-Tang Forever, Own It, Worst Behavior, From Time, Hold On, We're Going Home, Connect, The Language, 3 or 5 in My City, Too Much, Pound Cake. Come on, bro.
Pound Cake was the one.
Come on, bro.
But you're looking at it from a nostalgic standpoint.
I'm looking at it from a cohesive project, bro. And what the moment it's everything. I'm looking at it from the same standpoint you are, bro. That's why I think that way.
I just think if you really want me to be honest with you, the only song on here that I could still genuinely play today, literally, is From Time.
All right, bro. Are you serious?
I'm 100% serious.
From Time's the only song you can play from that project right now. All right, bro. All right.
I ain't gonna lie. Me and one of the old girls was playing that a lot on repeat too. That's a timeless record.
That's a timeless record, but it's not the only record.
He has timeless records.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is
that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? I could say Drake has timeless records.
So you bumping too much? Don't think about it.
That's what I'm saying. That's a timeless record, bro. And it's on a timeless project.
I don't think so.
What?
I don't think so.
If you can still play a project 10 years later.
Will you put it like, my thing is also a classic album. Let me also throw this in there, right?
That's considered what? A classic project, no? What do you mean? What do you mean, man?
No, you're right, because I'm about to do that with Kendrick.
Exactly.
No, but my thing is, I don't think that a lot of those songs age well. I think if you want me to be fair with Drake, the only album that I could say, the only project that aged well was If You're Reading This Is Too Late.
That's hard too.
That joint hard too.
But that joint aged well though.
It did. I think they both did.
I think that if you were to turn on, if one song from If You're Reading This Is Too Late comes on, you're probably gonna play that whole project. And that is the same thing with a lot of Kendrick's music. Yeah. If you play one Kendrick, if you play Humble, if you play Element, you listen to that whole thing.
But the way Drake drops is just like the whole body of work, like the title of the album, the layout of the album, the sequencing. It just all tells its story within itself to me, and I feel like it ages well for most people. You know what I mean?
I get what you mean. I'm still trying to.
So
that's my whole POV on it. I'm still trying to find.
That don't blows my shit.
There's still something missing